The Irish bring the rain.
Hola, bienvenidos a Zoo TV. Let's go for a drive in our luxury transport and I'll show you some of the Zoo Europa setup.
U2 ha marcado en su gira Europa 93 un hito en la representación de un espectáculo de rock. Este reportaje recorre uno a uno todos los rincones de Zoo TV y desvela el modo en que se ha organizado la puesta en escena de su complejo y sofisticado entramado.
We need about a day and a half to set up. If all goes well, we'd arrive at the stadium in the morning the day before the show and put it all in. About 36 hours is what we need to put it up. So we've done it in shorter, but it gets a bit uncomfortable.
Hello, 1, 2, 2, 1.
From a crew point of view, we have an on-the-road total of about 187 people at the moment. When you add in the band party, the management party, it grows to about 230 touring people on the road with us every day at every venue. Our crew party travel in 13 buses. We carry production in 26 48-foot trucks. The steel system, which is actually two systems, two entirely different stages, traveling on 10 trucks each.
The Irish bring the rain.
the new video screens we have taken the most time. The walls that we have here are made up of individual cubes, as you can see, and each one of those cubes breaks apart from the rest of it. And they're hung in long columns. Each column is stacked up and built, and gradually it gets bigger and bigger and goes up. And then they come together and make the one big screen. But because they're new to us, they've taken the most time this time round. And plus they're very heavy, so that screen weighs 12 tons. So.
In America, the three big screens that you see up, I mean, the 4 video walls on stage are identical. They're the exact same walls that we used all through America and through Europe last year. The big screens had to change. In America, they were soft screens. It was a back projection system. That was fine in America, because in America, every time the band went on, it was dark. In Europe, at best, they'll be going on at dusk, so we needed something that was a lot brighter.
I think using all the things we have, the TVs, you know, all the shash, all the whatever you want to call it, having all that just helps to deflate the importance of rock and roll.
Quite different from the way that other rock shows have been, and over the 2 years that idea has grown and developed, and more ideas have come in, and more things have been added to it. So there weren't problems really coming outdoors, but it was just a very different setting. In fact, in many ways, the show works better outdoors because the show feels so big. When it was indoors, you felt like it was straining to get out. You know, you felt like the roof was going to come off the place. Whereas now we're outdoors and it can really spread out.
U2 presentó en España en abril de 1991 los conciertos para espacios interiores de Zoo TV. El grupo llevó a San Sebastián y a Barcelona un deslumbrante espectáculo basado en la fuerza visual de los monitores. 12 coches Trabant, originales de la antigua República Democrática Alemana, completaron un espectáculo inédito en su género.
So this is one of the famous Trabbies. This is our favourite. This is Tigger. As you can see, this is a nice fur-covered number. Here it is in the luxury interior. We have various lights and strobes in there. You may want to. There we go. So we've taken out the engine and all the seats, and it drives probably about as well as it did before we took them out. We left the steering wheel in. And of course, when they're parked, it's always important to put the handbrake on. No, we're down to 4 now, actually. We're down to 4. But they're still with us. They're still a gesture. The Trabbie was kind of last year's thing, but we've kept a few on for old time's sake, because most of Europe didn't get to see them.
Cuando Europa llegó a los grandes estadios, los coches perdieron parte de su anterior protagonismo.
Well, of course, like any other tour, really, we're only in it for the money. But being Zoo TV, we have our own money here. This is what we get paid in. This is the Zoo EQ. There you go, and there's our picture of our president on the back here.
Welcome to Zoo TV.
Teach me how to do it. show me how to dance. Alright, alright. She moves that mysterious way.
Do you think that the audience is getting something out of this?
Yeah, they're coming to a rock and roll gig and watching television. I think that, I mean, what more can you ask for?
TV's all about, so it must be ours.
I got nothing left to lose, and you give yourself away. You give yourself away. Give yourself away. We're all about you.
Looking for emotional satisfaction. My advice to you is seek professional help.
That's all, folks.
Attention, Pop Mart shoppers.
Here we are in Feyenoord Stadium in Rotterdam. I'm Paul McGuinness. I'm the manager of U2. I think the first time I came to Rotterdam was in 1980, maybe 81, with U2 in a van. We had all the band and a couple of technicians, the equipment and our suitcases all in a small van, and I was driving the van. And that seems like yesterday. This show is the biggest one we've ever done. I think it's maybe the biggest one anyone's ever done. So the sound production, the lighting production, the world's biggest ever television screen. The stage is a sort of monument to trash and the supermarket culture. That's why we called the tour Pop Mart. I think you can probably see from the size of it that this is not a normal outdoor concert. This is really a spectacular. This is what we call the B stage. It's a little wet at the moment, but by tonight, when it's surrounded by thousands and thousands of screaming fans, this will be turned into an intimate little discotheque. On the right, you can see our 40-foot-high lemon, currently wearing its day wear. Later on, that comes off and reveals a mirror ball. That lemon moves out here on a truck at one point in the show, and this staircase rises from the stage, and guess who comes down the ladder? This is Adam's stack, rather appropriately, some of us think, painted in the Jamaican national colours. This makes an enormous noise, and Adam likes to stand pretty close to it so he can feel that kind of rib-crushing bass sound. And right beside Larry, as he is, this is where the rhythm comes from, and a great rhythm it is too. This is Dallas Shue.
Hi there.
The legendary Edge's legendary guitar tech.
These are two computers that control the sounds that Edge has given to his songs. Each song has a specific sound and a specific amplifier, and he will each song he'll bump up the different sounds. There's an average of 4 sounds per song he uses. He also plays with his feet. He plays the keyboards here, and he sings, of course. And there's a piano here, New Year's Day, so he'll play the piano with his guitar on, and he'll be playing these keyboards as well and singing. So he's quite a busy man during the show. And he uses 48 effects in this show. These are the old sounds here. Most of the older albums, Joshua, Octung, Rattle and Hum, War, and Boy, they're done with some of these older pedals here. The newer songs, pop songs, Please, Gone, Last Night on Earth, they're done with some of the new digital sounds and a combination of old sounds as well. Discotheque, there's some old sounds he uses in that as well. The last part of the signal chain is the amplifiers, and Edge prefers the old vintage model Voxes. He doesn't use new amplifiers. We use a total of 7 amplifiers during the show, and these 2 Randalls here are pretty much for the big crunch songs, Bullet, what have you, for the big distorted sounds. Underneath back here we have the guitars, if you'd like to see them. I carry 32 guitars for Edge. This is his oldest guitar that he got when he joined the band, when he purchased it, I believe, for the Boy and the War album. It's an old Gibson. And the newest guitar that for this tour is this pop discotheque guitar here. It has a mirror actually placed all around it, and it's used in the video. If you've seen the discotheque video, this is the instrument that was used by Edge for that. And the majority of the pop songs that we're playing in this show are done with this older Rickenbacker. This has been around since the Rattle and Hum tour. Angel of Harlem, Mysterious Ways. This is one of his favorite guitars. It's a 12-string guitar. and it's quite old. We make 18 changes in this show while he's playing, so it's quite busy down here, and Edge and I are a pretty good team while he's playing.
This is Larry's drum kit. As you can see, it's actually very simple. Very straightforward, basic drum kit. I think Larry's kit a few years ago was more complicated than this, but he seems to have gone to a sort of back to basics system. And this is where that enormous sound that is really the engine of U2 comes from. This is U2's lighting board that Willie Williams had designed for him and for us way back in 1984. And there's a rather interesting little plate here which has the logos from previous U2 tours, starting with the Unforgettable Fire Tour, which was the first tour that this board did, then the Amnesty International Tour, Conspiracy of Hope in '86, the Joshua Tree Tour in 1987-88, when things really started to explode for U2. Then we did a little tour down here, U2 and B.B. King, which didn't have an album and just went to Australia, Japan, and a few European cities. Then there was the Mammoth Zoo TV Tour, 92-93. And then the Pop Mart Tour, which we're currently in the middle of. This board is a piece of rock and roll history in its own right. Well, as you can imagine, we need a pretty massive sound system to bring the sound of U2 to the 50,000 people or more in the stadium. And Joe Ravitch from Clare Brothers in Pennsylvania has been working with U2 since the 80s. And this equipment, I'm sure, wasn't even in existence at that time. But nowadays, it pumps out a lot of power indeed. How does it work, Joe?
Well, we're using one of the first totally automated Rode audio consoles available. We're sort of breaking new ground here, a lot of respects. Point source sound being one of them, the full automation being another, and intense use of delay systems being the third.
As those of you who've seen the show will know, there's a lot of television in the Pop Mart show, and somebody has to be in charge of that. And we're very lucky that it's Monica Caston, and she runs this incredibly complicated thing.
I have 6 cameras that I switch and direct live every night, and that acts as one of the inputs to the screen. The rest of it is playback of different imagery that we've had created for the show. And we program that all together and put it up there and mix it around almost every night to make it better and make it different.
Well, tonight, to make things even more complicated, we're broadcasting 4 songs from the show to
live.
Pretty well live to every country in Europe.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you were delighted to hear we were doing that.
Yes, well, live is always interesting.
And on the floor of Boston's Fleet Center Arena, U2's road crew and Dream Chasers film crew are preparing to stage and shoot the 40th concert on U2's Elevation tour. With two crews working one floor, the potential for chaos is great, but you should know that it would be organised chaos. There are a few other things you should also know. First up, music was never meant to be played in these places. They've been built to accommodate very different types of activities, basketball and ice hockey. They're built to be very full and very loud and empty. They're really pretty soulless. The Fleet Center is the new home of the Boston Celtics basketball team. Boston Garden, the Celtics' former home, was a grand old place, cramped and wooden, intimate and intimidating, steeped in tradition and nostalgia. It was knocked down several years ago, as is the American way. So there's the first challenge. U2's road crew faced the task of converting this palace of concrete and steel into a concert hall. In a day. Next up, concert venues and film sets are fundamentally very different places. Legend would have it that nothing can screw up a concert quite so quickly and so thoroughly as a good film shoot. Film crew and road crew are natural enemies. This isn't to say that a cameraman can't be friends with a roadie, it's just that neither family would really approve. The reasons for the bad feeling can be boiled down to the fact that the appearance of a film crew generally means that things are about to be changed. And when you've less than a day to convert a basketball hall into a concert venue, then change is never really your friend. One example of this change is affecting the amount of punters, as the paying public are affectionately referred to, allowed on the floor during the concert. Apart from looking horrible on camera, this could have an adverse effect on the band, who might feel they're playing to an empty room. None of this is good. On a brighter note, Al Gurdon, the director of photography, has brought in an awful lot of extra lights, so at least there'll be no problem seeing the half-empty floor. Negotiations will continue right up to showtime. Time to introduce a few of the principal characters. Jake Berry and Steve Ardale are the producers of U2's Elevation 2001 World Tour. It's their responsibility to keep this show on the road. Under their supervision, the show is put up, performed, torn down, packed away, and sent on to the next town, where it all happens again. Jake and Steve are valets. Ned has a delicate balancing act to perform. He must keep the director of this little 20-camera project. He's a bit nervous about it all, not because there's any doubt about his talent and ability, but rather because he's forgotten his lucky shirt. What he hasn't forgotten is that the route to a rock star's heart is to make him look great, and great in this context means tall and skinny. The mythical tall, skinny lens is to top directors. To award shows brought Hamish firmly into the band's sights. His card marked, he was called to the dance floor to further apply his genius to shooting the Boston they were commissioned to film. And this show, as shows go, is particularly dark.
Dark, yes, but in a good way. You know, as I said to the video engineer today, who was struggling a little bit with the fact we wanted to do certain things with the pictures, and he said technically for television this isn't the way it's done, and I explained to him we're making art, we're not trying to pass an exam.
Willie Williams has worked with the band for several hundred years now, starting out as their lighting designer and assuming the role over the last 2 tours of full-blown show director.
Terribly exciting.
In a nutshell, Willie Williams is responsible for the way all this looks.
And what I'm excited about with this show and with filming this show is that it's almost the complete opposite of Pop Mart. I mean, Pop Mart, when you watch that video, it's like a night out on a space station or something. I mean, it's just this incredible thing, this huge event. And that production loved the camera. In some ways it looks better on TV than it did live. I mean, it was made for it. Whereas this is really quite difficult to film. The TV people that have come in have been scratching their heads a bit as to how best to make it read, because so much of what we're doing is environmental and it uses the whole room.
It should be remembered that it's almost a decade since U2 played a room this small.
Thank you for joining us live on the air. My pleasure.
The start of Zoo TV was the last time the band even went indoors. With the bulk of that tour and all of its successor, Pop Mart lived in stadiums. Zoo TV was a huge hit right out of the box, but Pop Mart wasn't quite so well received. Indeed, by U2's own exacting standards, Pop Mart was a bit of a lemon. But what a lemon.
The whipping boy is Pop Mart. And so everyone says now, this is a fantastic show, Elevation, it's so amazing. Isn't it great that they've stopped that silly Pop Mart business? You know? Which pisses me off really, because it was an absolutely astonishing show. But you know, it's a small sacrifice to have Pop Mart temporarily become U2's glass spider in order to make this great, because this is really great.
For illustration purposes, we came up with a video. This is very basic stuff that started to show the evolution of the shape, where the kids can walk in through here. There can be an area in here that's completely filled with kids that he can walk around and become very intimate with the crowd. Some of the framework that you'll see under the main stage is a brand new type of framework that we actually have now innovated for this show. Because we never build the same stage twice. We're always trying to make the structure better. We're trying to make it easier on the guys that put it together every day, and we're trying to take up less truck space. Most of the stages assembled here, we have not been able to get the entire stage with the last ellipse in because it's just too big.
In effect, what we've done is taken a standard video screen and split it up into strings and then placed them, as you see, around the stage. And this is basically a new technology. Everything has been custom built for this show.
All this is all in separate pods. There's 9 pods to the whole back section. Main stage is separate as well. About 2 hours. It goes together really fast.
So next you go to Canada.
Yeah, we'll go there to set it up the first time, make sure it's what they want, see if there's any additions, changes. It's mostly to get there early and technically be comfortable with how it loads in, how it loads out, how it fits in the truck.
This is our maiden voyage, the first test of the roller screens. It's very interesting. I'm very pleased. I can't wait to see it in context of the stage. From a design point of view, it's creating a kind of tension by putting next to each other the most absurdly high-tech inventions that have ever been seen on a rock stage, like this kind of thing. But also, right next to that, you put the most basic rock show you can imagine. Just 4 guys standing there playing their instruments who actually need nothing. They don't need any of this. U2 audiences, they love all this stuff. They want to be thrilled. They want to see what we've invented. But actually, really what they want to see is the band playing the songs. Because, of course, we haven't seen the stage and haven't seen what the band look like on the stage or how they react to it or how they perform. And a lot of what I do is very reactive, depending on... it depends on seeing it through the band's eyes, really. It was actually during the last tour that I started thinking about this and had this idea. So I emailed Mark Fisher immediately and asked him, did he think such a structure could exist or could work? And he was very positive. And it's remarkable because this is the first U2 show that I've designed where I only presented one idea. Always we go through lots and lots of ideas, but this time everybody knew that there was no second idea here. Either we were going to do this or we wouldn't bother.
The main idea for this was sorted out about 2.5 years ago when it became clear we were going to do a show in the round in stadiums, and I made a number of proposals for 360-degree video screens. What we have achieved here is a kinetic video screen, basically, because it has this huge movement element to it in addition to its functioning as a video screen, and it works 360. So it is a video screen that you can produce content that goes all the way around it, and the thing expands and contracts. So those two features make it unique and particularly well suited to what we're going to do in a stadium.
I think it's important to realize that that the screen on the creative level was a collaboration between several individuals. So certainly Frederick and myself played a role, but also Willie Williams, sort of from the band side, and Mark Fisher. I don't know the actual title, but he's kind of the stage architect, if you will. This sort of concept of the transformable video screen for U2 came together through all of our ideas. And in that sense, I was responding to Willie and Mark's creative direction about the shape, the form, etc. But my specialty is how to take, three-dimensional form and make it physically transform, make it morph, if you will, make it change from one shape to another shape. So I was responding to their direction and then translating it into the kind of specialty that I have. I'm an artist, I'm an engineer, I'm a designer. And the thing about design and engineering as opposed to art is it's all about the constraints. It's all about, or you're always working with certain limitations. And to me, I just thrive on those limitations. I like it when people say, give me that direction, because then I can use my creativity to find the way through it and create the particular brand of magic that I always try to, which is about this sort of transformable experience.
This is a new way of looking on how creative LED screens are going to be used, and one of the first things which we see is actually here at the U2 deployment, where we are actually building not just a flexible screen, but the fully transformable screen. It changes its shape, it changes its behavior, and it changes content while it is part of that integral show. So this is something very exciting for us, and it's key for us to do that together for such an important event such as the U2.
It's thrilling, absolutely thrilling. There's so many different parts of it, but working with an incredible creative team around the band and having the opportunity to see the work that I've been doing in transformable structures expressed in a whole new way. It's bigger size, it's more technology, it's part of a fantastic spectacle and show. All of this is exciting.
For the specific U2 design, the cooperation between all the parties which have been presented before is very key. You can never pull this off alone. It's about the integration of what does the artist want, how is the visual design needs to look like, what's the impression you want to give, what is the environment you have, how much space do you have to play with, and what is most important, what is the effect that the customers, in that respect, the guys and girls who want to listen to the concert and watch the concert, would like to get as an impression. And it's with that parameters that we came that the Flex 24, the FLX 24 Pixel, was actually the most suited design that could be used in order to create the experience, or what I would call even the immersive experience. The audience can see everything around it, so it gives that full definition of what we call transformation. But it also gives the ability to the designers to start working on structures which nobody's ever seen before, and that's what makes it unique.
In a way, this thing here is like a living thing, And what's amazing is you know, it lives in terms of how it changes its, you know, its size, it changes its form, it grows, it extends, but then it has this living skin on it as well, which is the video. So it's kind of an object that's, you know, I mean, I think it's probably one of the most fascinating objects on the planet at the moment. You know, it's really something, it's something absolutely unprecedented.
As the same scale as a gigantic action film, except you're moving location.
Breaking the space up, and I mean the show starts with this cage in the middle of the floor here, and either side can't see through it, but if you're actually in it, as you'll discover, you can see out very easily.
Well, there's a bit of a wobble here.
It is a little bit wobbly, it's not so stable. The two things you can't have here is vertigo and a need to have some stability. There's no groundedness once you're inside the barricade.
And what does it give you as a band? Because you're putting a wall up between you and the audience and between two sides of the audience.
Yeah, well, we call it the north side and the south side, and generally they don't get to see each other until the screen comes up. So I mean, that's just a great dramatic moment for the beginning of the show.
And what's it like being inside here? Because I imagine these video walls produce a lot of heat.
The video walls are not too bad because they're LED, but it's all these halogen lights underneath, these really bright lights that if you're standing here waiting for the set to change, they just fry you. But you know what, you kind of learn that, you know, you can get away with not wearing heavy clothing in here. Okay, so halfway through the show we're in the screen, and then we come out at this end and we come onto this E stage. And this is in fact another video screen.
I think what's interesting about this is normally if you're at a show, the front of the arena is where you want to be. And here you're using the whole width, so everybody has the best seat in the house. Is that the idea?
Yeah, the idea was if we divide it down the center, then all these people are close to you when you're in the middle. And then when you get onto this stage, you're actually performing to the people down this end. And this end is much more like a club gig. This is much more like down and dirty, and the other end is a bit more formal.
Which do you prefer?
I like down and dirty. You can definitely use that.
It seems to me that U2 is always the test for the new PRG product, because it was first with the space frame and first with this here. So in the Joshua Tree we had great results with the space frame. It worked really well, it did its job, especially in inclement weather and wind. So that was success. This here, the quality's great and it achieves everything that we want from a creative perspective and also as a production perspective, because we would not have been able to use the flying catwalk if we had not got a lighter product.
So the Pure 10 allowed more resolution, which allowed greater graphics for this show throughout the whole show, whether it's the computer-generated graphics or the iMag, and then the floating sort of video element that we have called the bridge or the beam, call it different things. That came around because of the weight capacity that we gained by having a lighter product. And this is also about 70% more see-through. So you know, the more audience can see Bono when he's in the screen or the band. And so that we play a lot more in this show with this sort of texture between inside and outside and revealing the band and not seeing the band and stuff. So it's pretty amazing.
The product's doing really well on the tour. Packages really well, and what's good for the tour is that after we finish building, all the dollies and everything can stack and go away into smaller spaces. So it's not just about trucks, it's also about the venue space and where we put everything after we've built.
The stage crashes. Are we ready? You know, we're all formed. You want us to be afraid?
with this system, the way it's been designed, not just the carbon fibre but also the way it's packaged, is a great step forward, I think. Usually the step forward is in the technology and stuff like that, but this time they've spent the time and money on the way it's packaged and also the frame. So we use less trucks, we use less people. We can save time and space when we load in. The 8 frames come off the dollies instead of 6 now, and then we can stack the dollies, say 4 or 5 high, and they can be put somewhere else.
So to design a video screen of this magnitude, this complexity, and design it in a manner that it can come down faster and be set up again quicker than anything prior to it, is vital to us.
The added incentive of having the wind bracing built into the screen instead of carrying around a lot of trussing and rigging to stabilize it was the big change for me.
The space framing makes the wind bracing actually quite simple for us. Previous screens we had to get supports everywhere, put a lot of horizontal bracing. Now the screen, the space frame takes care of that, and there's less supports from us needed.
Social, the spiritual, the psychological. Anyway, it's got the lines of this tour in it. Set me alight, punch a hole right through the night. Every day the dreamers die to see what's on the other side. And she is liberty. She comes to rescue me. Hope, faith, vanity is that she thinks the greatest gift of gold. Sleep comes like a drug in God's country. Sad eyes, broken brothers.
I'm CEO of PRG Projects, and PRG Projects is the company that designs and develops special applications and special video screens for the concert touring industry in general. PRG Projects is located in 3 different countries. On one hand, we're in Belgium, where most of the people that work at PRG Projects originate from. On the other hand, we have an office in Shenzhen in China, because we cooperate a lot with Chinese companies for sourcing and developing technology. And we're also located in Los Angeles, because that's where our biggest market is, the concert touring market, basically. Well, PRG Projects, in fact, originally was called System Technologies, but with all the consolidations going on, happening in the video screen market, we changed name a couple of times when we made alliances with different companies. So at some point, for instance, we were part of Barco. At some point, we were part of an English group, then in cooperation with a different American group. But as the market field has been changing, we had to make different alliances with different partners. Because at the end of the day, video screen technology is a very new field. In mid-80s, video screens were just some iMac, big cloths somewhere next to the stage, with a huge projector projecting on it, and the projector had to be heated up 3 hours before the show to be able to project an image which was hardly visible in those days. So it's really in the late 80s that the technology started developing, and since, call it the late 80s, early 90s, we have been through huge technological phases until where we are now with high resolution, almost see-through screens. U2 has always been looking for novelty, looking for innovation, and trying to bring new technology or new applications with technology for their audience. And they were also really the first ones who really took that entire culture of MTV onto the stage. Before U2, the video screens were used for IMAX. With U2, suddenly you had all these flashy images that were actually supporting the acts. Our very first big project was U2 Zuropa, which was the 200 cubes that went on tour in 1993, which is now exactly 25 years ago. So that was the very first project. The second big one then was Pop Mart, 96. In between, we have been working on screens for people like Phil Collins, etc. And later on, we went into the field of the what we call spectaculars, which is extremely transparent. Same transparency as the screen before, but had 10 times the pixel resolution as the 2015 screen. So that is basically the evolution between 2015 and 2018 is, again, less weight, but 10 times the pixel resolution per square area.
This time we have a moving catwalk which can move up and down at any angle from about 40 degrees to 0 to flat. And we have a slightly different screen now, so we have a better quality screen, I would say. It's pure 10, so it's 10 mil as opposed to, I think it was 15 mil last time. So the see-throughness is fantastic on the screen. And the weight is, we've lost up, I think, 30% weight, which then allows all the other people to add the other mechanics in for the moving parts in the screen. So the other parts of the screen are at this end, just behind me here, we have a staircase that comes down onto the stage here that we're standing on. At the far end, they have what we call the guillotine, which is a lowering platform. And then in the screen we have a drum kit which tracks up and down with the catwalk itself as well and stays inside the screen. So obviously the main weight is the main billboard screen in the middle. I'd say it's just over 20 tons. So that's quite different to have 20 tons in the middle of an arena. Usually it's all down one end or maybe a little bit over this end, but we're kind of spread right down the middle of the room. So that's different. That's quite heavy for a video screen, but it's not really a video screen because there's lots of other components in there. There's lighting, there's moving parts, there's gags in there, and then the 4 band members as well. So it does do quite a lot for that. We have 15 columns as we break it down, 15 columns and 8 rows, and that all packs down into a truck and a half for the video system only. Then there's special trussing, which has its own truck, and then the catwalk, which has another truck as well. So, and that can load out in about just under 3 hours. So everything you see here tomorrow night will be gone in 3 hours. Sound, video, lights, the lot.
So for the B stage, we have the rolling video decks. Domino, as we call them nowadays. And these in fact were developed for a French band called Phoenix.
We're down at the E stage now, which is supposedly the B stage, with our new video floor. So during the show there's about 4 or 5 songs where the floor comes to life. It has this cover on it which makes it look like it isn't the floor to start with, and then it comes alive during the show. It comes on 8 dollies and packs away really neatly. I think we can de-rig it in about 35 minutes. So yesterday we loaded in, it takes us, I think, spread over about 8 hours, we have about 5 or 6 hours of solid work for video.
So Pure 10 is made in panels which are 1 meter high and 2 meter wide. They weigh 20 kilograms per panel, so we're at 10 kilograms a square meter. The panels can be rigged. There's no stacking version for it yet. And everything is calculated until screen height of 9 meter with the applicable wind loads for indoor venues. So in order to make a screen that transparent and that light, what we did is take the technology that was actually used for video in shopping malls, in windows of shopping malls, and put it in touring frames. So the PCBs, as opposed to be flat with LEDs on, in this system, the PCBs are in that direction. The LED is soldered on the edge of the PCB, so to allow for a maximum transparency. So that was an existing technology, but obviously that was made for Windows, to incorporate LED in Windows. So we basically took it apart, made a carbon fiber structure for it, and integrated everything into the carbon fiber structure. Through Spaceframe we had the experience of working with carbon fiber, so that allowed us to now develop this new structure in carbon fiber quite rapidly. Carbon fiber, by the way, who I think going forward will become the standard for any video screen structures. It's a very nice and thankful material to work with. Saving all that weight allowed to introduce moving catwalks and a lot of other features that were not there in 2015, so that the visual look of the screen could be completely different. Some moments the audience is really with their face in front of the video screen. The band's performing inside the video screen. Yeah, so I think this stage here really brings the band and the concerts inside the audience. The coexistence between video and light has now been on a stage for 20 years. And I think they're even integrating more and more. We are now releasing a product at LDI called Wonderwall, where we have a triangular piece, a periactoid, which has one surface has a video screen, on another surface it has lights, and on a third surface it has a mirror. That system is part of a video screen, so if the screen is installed, then you just see a normal video screen, but suddenly certain elements can start rotating and become lights or mirrors. And with those mirrors, obviously, designers can work with lasers on. So I think that this type of installations will become much more frequent. So inside video screens, we will definitely start experimenting with other technologies, automation, moving pieces, sceneries inside video screens, etc. is really where it's going to for the next couple of years.
To the minds of young men.